The Battle of Kurukshetra reaches its breaking point, but the pivotal moment is the sound of a chariot wheel sinking into the earth. Observe the geometry of this failure. Facing Arjuna, Karna suffers 3 simultaneous breakdowns. His chariot stalls, his divine armor is missing, and his mind blanks on his ultimate weapon. Traditional interpretations frame this as an anti-hero doomed by curses and political alliances. The synchronization of these events suggests a deeper mechanism. A stuck wheel, a missing defense, and a blank mind occurring in a single instant indicate a precise sequence of failures. Karna's death reveals a carefully engineered execution by a deeply stratified society. T.P. Kailasam's play, The Curse, provides a framework to strip away the mythological veneer. It forces an investigation into the sociology buried within the epic's final moments. We can analyze this fall through the structural tools of classical Greek tragedy, the architecture used to map the absolute limits of human agency. We then layer that structure with modern post-colonial theory, specifically the work of Gayatri Chakravorty Spivak. Spivak's work identifies the subaltern, populations structurally excluded from the hierarchy of power, denied both a voice and agency within a dominant culture. Mapping Greek tragic mechanics onto the Indian epic shows that Karna's failure is a literal manifestation of subaltern psychological paralysis. Reverse the timeline to the first point of failure, the chariot wheel sinking into the mud. Classical Greek tragedy relies on the concept of ananke, the inescapable force of necessity that dictates the boundaries of human life. In the Mahabharata, the rigid socio-political matrix of the caste system functions as this unyielding agent. It takes the place of the gods as the enforcer of necessity. Karna is born to royalty, but raised by a charioteer. He carries the social stigma of a Sutaputra, a lower caste subject attempting to navigate a world designed for the elite. Anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss provides a structuralist lens to analyze how myths enforce these social boundaries. Lévi-Strauss argued myths structure worlds through binary oppositions. Here, society is split between the dominant elite and marginalized subaltern. Karna spends his life attempting to cross over. He masters their skills, but the structural barrier repeatedly rejects his transition. The stuck wheel is a structuralist anchor. The narrative forces him back into the mud of his assigned social stratum because the hierarchy cannot allow his ascent. Consider the second point of failure. Karna enters the fight without his natural divine armor. In Greek tragedy, hamartia identifies a missing of the mark, a specific flaw in action that precipitates a fall. Karna's hamartia is his absolute commitment to dana, or supreme charity. Unlike a traditional hero ruined by pride, he is compromised by his own adherence to virtue. The god Indra, acting as an agent of the elite order, exploits this exact virtue. He demands Karna's protective armor as alms, leaving the warrior physically vulnerable for the final clash. This diagram shows the socio-political mechanic at play. When the dominant elite cannot defeat a subaltern in fair combat, they attack the subaltern's morality. In a hegemonic system, the elite weaponize the virtues of the subaltern against them to guarantee their destruction. Finally, Karna's mind goes completely blank, attempting to summon his ultimate weapon, the Brahma-astra. This moment reflects the central inquiry of Gayatri Spivak: can the subaltern speak? Spivak identifies epistemic violence, the systemic erasure and disqualification of marginalized knowledge by dominant institutions. In the myth, Karna had to hide his caste to access elite education. His guru cursed him to forget that knowledge at his moment of greatest need. Stripped of its magical framing, this curse is a mythic encoding of deep psychological trauma and cognitive blockage. Operating within exclusionary, hostile spaces requires intense cognitive dissonance. The subaltern subject is constantly navigating a system designed for their exclusion. The paralysis is triggered by the presence of Arjuna, the ultimate sanctioned representative of the elite order. Epistemic violence manifests as this cognitive block. The subaltern is systemically silenced at the exact moment they need to exert their agency. Return to the original freeze frame on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The battlefield schematic illustrates a systemic execution. The convergence of these 3 constraints creates an inescapable environment. This outcome was a mathematical certainty, dictated by the social architecture of the epic. The engineering of this outcome can be explained through functionalism. Bronislaw Malinowski argued that myths exist to legitimize cultural norms. The traditional reading of the epic fulfills this function. It legitimizes the elite hierarchy by ensuring the Sutaputra inevitably fails against the divine princes. Kailasam's deconstruction strips away the magic, exposing the brutal sociological machinery underneath. Karna is the ultimate archetype of the subaltern subject. The structural impossibility of his own existence within the epic's elite architecture ensures his destruction.